Warm greetings from the High 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Thursday, May 7, 2020. I'd like to bring you said information out of New York, and this is pertaining to the bodies that were found in unrefrigerated trucks at a funeral home. I want to thank the commenter who let me know that the funeral home was fine, and I'm a little late bringing you the said information, and this was published on May 1st of this month. If you need verification for the storyline, please log on to New York 4 News NBC. And yes, my brother Buck is doing okay that I know of. A little sluggish. I talked to him, of course, earlier. Thank you for the warm wishes. Thank you so much. God bless all of you. And I am praying for him that he has a speedy recovery and he takes the doctor's orders to help him with this journey of being in the hospital and having this stroke. And he seemed a little bit out of it, but he was talking, and that is the best sign. And amen, amen. Buck, I love you, and you are just, you mean the world to me, honey. And I'm thankful and grateful that you are okay. So on with my story out of New York City. Unconscionable body overflow at Brooklyn funeral home prompts license suspension investigation. New York officials say the funeral home could face fines as the owner says he simply ran out of room because the business had bodies coming out of our ears. This was published May 1st. It started with reports of a strange stench in Brooklyn. Police who investigated found another example of how the coronavirus has overwhelmed the city. A funeral home had resorted to storing dozens of bodies on ice in rented trucks. Now state officials have revoked the funeral home's license as the owner says he simply ran out of room because the business had bodies coming out of our ears. Authorities found that the Andrew T. Cleckley funeral home had rented 4 trucks to hold about 50 corpses, Health Commissioner Dr. Howard Zucker said Thursday. A neighboring business owner called 911 to report that fluids were leaking from one of the trucks, police said. Health officials issued guidance to all funeral homes that they would not tolerate any of that kind of behavior, Zucker said at the daily coronavirus briefing by Governor Andrew Cuomo. Obviously, the funeral home shouldn't have done that, Cuomo said. There is a video also in the said article. Messages were left Thursday with owner Andrew T. Cleckley, who told the New York Times on Wednesday that he needed to use the trucks for overflow storage after he had filled his chapel with more than 100 corpses. I ran out of space, he said. Bodies are coming out of our ears. The funeral home was initially cited for failing to control the odors before it obtained a larger refrigerated truck later in the day. Workers in protective gear could be seen Thursday transferring bodies into the refrigerated truck. Mayor Bill de Blasio called the actions of funeral home officials unconscionable. I have no idea in the world how any funeral home could let this happen, the Democrat said at a news briefing. He said officials at the home should have asked state regulators or city police for help if they were getting overwhelmed. The funeral home should have been able to figure it out, he said. New York City funeral homes have struggled since late March as the number of virus-related fatalities has topped 18,000. Funeral parlors in Brooklyn and Queens have been hit especially hard as both have dealt with more cases than any other county in the country. The city set up temporary morgues. Hospitals use refrigerated tractor trailers to cart away multiple bodies at a time, sometimes loading them in public view on the sidewalk. Crematoriums have been backed up. Funeral directors across the city pleaded for help as they ran out of space. Many people working in funeral homes have expressed concerns regarding storage, but none as extreme as those reported at the Brooklyn facility. Mike Lynott, spokesman for the New York State Funeral Directors Association, said Thursday. Lynott said Cleckley's home was not a member of the group. Worries intensified Thursday that the chaos at the Brooklyn funeral home would make it difficult for families to keep track of bodies of loved ones, Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams said. The pain for those families must be unimaginable, he said. New York City Chief Medical Examiner Barbara Sampson said that her office has talked and coordinated with funeral home directors over the course of the pandemic, saying that the single most important thing they have been able to do is to increase storage capacity, is to help to increase storage capacity. She said during the interview on MSNBC Thursday that their goal was to help alleviate some of the burden both upon funeral homes and families to rush to make funeral arrangements during this difficult time, while adding she doesn't foresee capacity being an issue thanks to the increases they've made. Sampson said that she had seen those horrible photographs of the truck outside the funeral home and said her heart goes out to all families impacted. And that is the said information. This was May 1st, so this is a 6-day-old article. Sorry I'm late with the news. And if you need verification for the story, New York 4 NBC is the source. So let me say this, and I shouldn't have to say it. And I've learned that having this channel, people will argue about the stupidest things that is so obvious and heinous. I don't get it. But everyone has a responsibility in this life, such as the nurses, the doctors. They have a responsibility to their patients. When they die, naturally they reach out to whomever name is on the paperwork. If no one claims the body, then the city steps in, state or whatever, to help locate the decedent's family, friend. They have a time period where how long it takes, how long they will do that. And then if they don't get a call back or reach anyone, then they take the necessary steps to bury the body. The fact that someone is claimed from the hospital means they have taken on the responsibility to bury the body. Then that means they have the body sent to a funeral home. And then that means the funeral home has an obligation to confer with the family member, friend, organization, whomever, to make arrangements for the deceased person. So you know your business better than an outsider. And when you know that you don't have the room or the space to house a dead body, then you no longer take a dead body. So to say that they were running out of your ears is ignorant and ridiculous, because you are the one in control of the funeral home, and you are the one who knows the space in that said locale, and you know how many rooms you have to hold the deceased people. So I do fault the funeral home, any funeral home that will take a body knowing they do not have adequate space for that said persons. How is it the hospital's fault, the public's fault, the family member's fault? Because as I state, everyone has a job. And so anybody stupid enough to want to get over here and anywhere else and argue about why you saying it's their fault, you crazy too. Because you know damn well family and friends entrusted someone to receive the body from the hospital, and it is their job to get the body ready for burial, cremation, whichsoever. And if the funeral home does not do their own cremations, then they contract out to somebody else. That's still on them. That's still on them. And now, as I state in the last video, I find it crazy. What did you tell the family members when they were asking about the body? Those that were supposed to be cremated. What did you tell them? What did the family say? Did you all just sit idly by waiting to see what they were going to do about your loved one that's supposed to be cremated? And or funeral service or burial? Because I don't know if this Cleckley did services there at the funeral home, and or did they just prepared the body and then did graveside service? Either way, it was heinous and greed, in my opinion, that led this Mr. Cleckley to take on the bodies that he knew he did not have any room for inside of the funeral home. And to go out and rent trucks is even more heinous, because those were dead people in there. And the fact that someone, plural, saw fluid leaking out, come on now, really? And we know a truck that's refrigerated, hey, got to have gas in there. Why should I even have to explain this? You took the coward's way out by storing those bodies in those trucks. And it was also said that some of those trucks were not refrigerated. And I think we all know that because they wouldn't have been leaking out of the trucks in the first place. That was wrong to do that. And anyone that wants to uphold the funeral home, you're just as crazy as they are, because it was disrespectful to the decedent, and disrespectful to the family, friends, people who place that responsibility with the funeral home director. Right is right. Praying for New York. Praying for New York. Praying for New York with all the fatalities and sickness and this Wasaki issue affecting children, a spinoff of Corona. It's nonstop. Now they're talking about this hornet thing on the West Coast. It's overwhelming, and it's just, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know if God's trying to tell us something, what is going on, but this is crazy. And as I say, you choose to believe what you want, but Big Ange ain't about to argue with you about it. Believe that. Praying for all of you. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. Mask up, glove up, put everything in the appropriate receptacles. Thank you for the warm and kind wishes for my brother Buck. I will bring you an update to the status of his health when I get that said information. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure he appreciates it as well. He and his family, wife and children. Whew, what a week. God bless America. Thanks for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.